Hi, welcome to Flow Motion Body Knowledge. So in this video, I want to take just a couple minutes to talk about the flow motion technique and why flow motion is so important and why it's such an integral part of the H-Defy movement therapy program. So when I lost the function of my hips, I could no longer lift heavy weights. I couldn't squat, I couldn't do a lot of things that I was used to doing when I found out about my hips, that I needed my hips replaced. Since I've had my one hip replaced and I'm about to get this one replaced, I still don't believe that I should be lifting heavy. I don't believe I need to. I use flow motion strength training to keep my body strong, but as well healthy. So while I'm strength training, I'm also doing movement therapy. So flow motion is based in Tiger. Tiger is basically like the tabletop position of yoga, but with your knees elevated, with your shins off the floor. So it's movement therapy for the toes. It's making your big toes function more. It's movement therapy for the arches of your feet. It's movement therapy for your ankles and your knees because it strength trains the muscles of the lower body. You'll feel it in your quads. You'll feel it in your inner thighs. You'll feel it in your hamstrings. Tiger is even more beneficial than plank because in plank, you lose that strength training for the hamstrings, and in Tiger, you don't. It gives tone and strength to the arms. It helps with grip strength, and that's something that we lose, especially as we age. We lose our ability to put our hands on the ground and push ourselves up. So flow motion helps with all of that. So here's what you're gonna need to know for today's flow motion workout. You're gonna take your yoga mat and you're gonna fold it into what we call a knee pad mat. So I just take it here and fold it in half, right? And then I fold it again, and then I fold it again, and now all of a sudden it's become a perfect pad for my knees, so that when I go on my knees, I have a little bit of pad. But really, the whole point of flow motion is to hold the knees up, is to push down through the ground as you lift up into the body, strength training the abs, the pelvic floor, the chest, lengthening the spine. So much is going on in this one movement. And then from there, we kind of do twists and we do all these things. It's a lot of fun. You'll notice that I have weights here. So Brad, the guy that was my client that was in the video with me, he had some wrist pain today. So when we went down into Tiger, he came out grabbing his wrist. We can make a little adjustments around that. If you have wrist pain for now, one, movement reveals all. So if you have wrist pain, that means we have to do something about it. It has revealed weakness in the wrist. If you cannot support your own body weight with your hands on the ground and you can't support your own body weight in Tiger, then really, to tell you the honest truth, if you have wrist pain in this position, then you probably shouldn't be putting an external load such as a weight in your hands. But for today, you are using the weights to make the little adjustment around wrist pain, so you're not struggling with the wrist pain and you can work on the rest of the body. So for flow motion with the weights, you'll just grab the weights and you spin your knuckles towards the ground, keeping the wrist straight and strong right here. And then without the weights, this is where you want to strengthen up the hands. It's called Hasta Bandha. So we know Pada Bandha, the bandha of the foot, right? Pada means foot, bandha means energy lock. So Pada Bandha is when we lift all 10 toes and we push down through the tripod of each foot and we lock the energy into the arch of the foot and that energy rises into the body. That's Pada Bandha. Well, the same goes for Hasta Bandha. Hasta means hand. So when you're doing flow motion on the ground, you put your hands on the ground, and there's a few techniques that you want to do so that it's not all in your wrist. Instead, you come into all fours, you come into that yoga tabletop, but you want your knees to come forward just a little bit. Actually, you can put your knees on the mat, because that's why we have a mat, right? So your knees are on the mat, your toes are tucked under, you do that hip hinging position. So the butt is up, the chest is down, the butt is back, and the chest is pulling forward. Now from here, you start to press down underneath the nail bed of each finger and you grip at the floor. So you're activating the center of the palm of your hand, just like you activate the arch of your feet. So you grip with your fingertips, you press down through the heel of each hand, okay? And you press down through the knuckle pad of each hand, and then you press down through each fingertip. And you press down, and then everything else just lifts up. So from here, make sure too that your fingers are parallel to one another. Don't let them be turned in or turned out. They're parallel to one another when you put your hands on the ground. You begin with an internal rotation, so that means the shoulders go forward and in. That allows you to go forward over the fingertips. So you don't want necessarily stacked joints. You want the shoulders to go forward. Now from here, so you only go as forward as far as you can, but the hips are still pulling up and back. So the shoulders are going forward, the hips up and back. You're playing that tug of war. Grip with your hands, Hasta Bandha. Flex the muscles in your arms, your biceps and your triceps. When you internally rotate, that gives you space to go forward. Now push down through the hands and lengthen your collarbones now and kind of let the shoulders externally lock into place, okay? And then you start to push down through your hands without lifting the knees. You push down through the hands and down through the toes, and you push as hard as you can. 4, 3, 2, and then on 1, you lift the knees. You kind of go back and you can go forward. And you try to find that space between. The hips are up, the chest is down, the hips are back, the chest is forward. Don't let the hips go up too high. You gotta keep them down. Go as low as you can. Shins parallel to the ground, eyes forward. Hug the upper arms, hug your upper inner thighs, use your big toes, use your fingertips. Lower your knees, push the hips back, push down through the knees, come up into a kneeling position, zip. To get back into that tiger position, you unzip hip hinge, kneeling hip hinge, hands to the ground. Internally rotate the shoulders, create space to go forward. Externally rotate, lock, Hasta Bandha, grip. Flex the muscles in your arms. Push down through the hands and push down through the big toes, especially the big toes. Really press underneath the nail bed of each big toe. And as you press down, lift the shins. Hug everything to your center, butt back, chest forward, gaze forward, knees down. Sit into a kneeling position. Good, roll out your wrist. So, if you're just beginning, maybe your wrist can't handle it, even if you don't have a wrist injury or anything like that. But if you haven't put your hands on the ground, if you've never done tiger before, you're probably gonna feel your wrist. That doesn't mean that your wrists are injured, or that doesn't mean that pain's gonna stay forever. It just means that you haven't done this before. It's new movement, new results. It will reveal where weakness lies. We don't want to be scared of weakness. We have to reveal weakness so we can train weakness. We are only strong when we train the weakest part of ourselves. And if your wrists are weak, you're going to find out about this in this workout. So I would say have a pair of weights with you. So maybe you do half the class with the weights, half the class without the weights. Maybe do one series of tiger without the weights and then one series of tigers with the weights. So many ways you can do it. The whole idea of Age Defy is make little adjustments, get around the pain so you can go beyond it and keep going, okay? So if you have any questions, send me a message. I'd love to answer them for you. And just enjoy the flow motion workout. It's gonna be awesome. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time you take it. This is a practice that builds. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. You're here to be changed. Enjoy.